Hey everyone, it's Brooke, and I am back again this week, very sadly, actually, for the last time, with the incredible hypnotist, Richard Barker. Thank you for being here, Richard.
Welcome.
And we are talking about being suave and what that means and projecting that persona so that everyone around you kind of feels that and feeds off of that. So I think what we had talked about a little bit during the break was that part of being suave is being persuasive and having persuasive language. So talk to us a little bit about how we can really incorporate that.
Yeah, I think everything stems from the power of persuasion. And, since we were kids, in order to get the candy or get the cookie or get the snack, we had to persuade someone else to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that a lot of people have sort of misunderstood persuasion and they almost think it's a bad word or a dirty thing to do almost, but it's not. I mean, as human beings, we should be natural born persuaders. And if you can persuade and suggest the right things to somebody else, you're always going to get it.
Well, I think what people don't realize, and the reason that words like persuasion and manipulation have a negative connotation,
mm,
people don't understand that they do it every single day.
right.
You persuade the barista to make your drink a little bit special at Starbucks. You
Yeah.
persuade the waitress to maybe bring you some chips and salsa for free or whatever it is. You use
Yeah.
persuasive language all the time. My son does it. He's 6 years old. And he's like, Mom, can I have a snack? I'll give you 10
Oh, yeah.
kisses. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, fine. You got me. And from a very young age, we start using that kind of language and just are not aware of it.
Yeah, and I think as adults, we almost tend to want to talk ourselves out of it. So I would say, depending on what your dream and your goals are, I mean, if it's to make more money, don't feel that you can't make more money. I mean, go and make more money. It shouldn't
Right.
be a dirty word. And I have a saying that each day in every way I'm in the business of persuasion and I'm getting better at it. So it's each day in every way I'm in the business of persuasion and I'm getting better at it. So I will say to people, look, I'm a master persuader and my role is to help you determine whether you want this or don't want this. So if you come to me and you want positive change to be affected, I understand that I'm a master persuader, and so that's what's going to happen. In other words, what I say is going to happen is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So back to yourself, you can actually give your own positive suggestions. If you're a smoker at the moment out there and you want to stop smoking, then you can tell yourself that you are a non-smoker, and each day in every way you dislike cigarettes or you're not going to smoke from this point forward. The more you say something like that to yourself, the more you persuade yourself first that you need that next step, then others will follow suit. I mean, politics is big at the moment on using the power of persuasion and suggestion. They use what's called future pacing, so they don't say if I become your next president. They'll say something like, when I'm your president, I will ensure the safety of the country.
Right.
So if that future pacing, if you can translate it to whatever it is that you want to change about yourself. So I can say, in May, I'm going to have the best month I've ever had in my entire life because in May, I'm giving my permission to celebrate myself and I'm going to reciprocate and reward myself for all the hard work I've done. Therefore, I'm going to choose a country to go to and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to go on vacation. So if you're in the mindset of that sort of self-reflecting practice and that own persuasion, other people naturally follow suit.
So my question then is, do you have to action? Because this sounds a lot like programming, like you would train a dog, right? Do
Yeah.
you have the words, but then do you action something later to trigger that?
What I'm doing is, well, there's a two-step process here. And step one is I could give you my thought process. So let's say that, I don't know, for example, you're suffering with a lack of confidence or self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
I could give you my thought processes and have you believe that my thought processes are your thoughts.
Right.
So I can have you believe that your thoughts, they're my thoughts, but they become your thoughts. Therefore, you're going to action on those thoughts. People don't like other people's ideas. They really don't. They like their own better. So I'm going to give you that programming that my ideas are in fact yours. Well, go one step further. I can actually program my thoughts before I get up. Before I decide to do something, I can actually pause, close my eyes, take three breaths in, which is part of this program's sort of hypnotic trance, if you were. And as I close my eyes, I can imagine, visualize, create what I want to happen next. So I am self-programming. I'm using my own persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
So two things: I can have you believe my thoughts, therefore you're going to improve your life. And I can also improve my own life in the same time because I can have my own thoughts go into my subconscious mind and stay there permanently.
Mm-hmm. So I have to ask, because we're getting into some territory that could be, I don't want to say dangerous, but could be dangerous, but could also be really embarrassing if it doesn't go well. So if I'm in a situation and I'm attempting all of this, if I'm attempting to have persuasive language and to give this persona, and it isn't going well or it isn't being received well, is there anything I can do in that kind of emergency situation to kind of get myself back on track?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is the wrongness approach kicks in again because you're never wrong.
Okay.
That defuses it and takes the sting out of it.
And gives yourself some grace as well.
Yeah. And as an example, if I'm going to do some street hypnosis and I'm going to hypnotize somebody in, let's say, 30 seconds flat, and for whatever reason they don't become hypnotized, and they're looking at me like going, dude, what are you doing, man? You're pulling my arm and you're looking into my eyes and I didn't feel it.
Right.
I'm like, well, I'm sorry that you didn't feel it necessary to be hypnotized today. And for that failing, I apologize to you because most of the people I work with do actually concentrate. So in other words, whose fault is it? It's not mine.
Right.
So the second thing is in an emergency situation, just take 3 breaths, close your eyes momentarily, visualize a snapshot of successes that you've had in your life. You know, we all play this tape. We're all at the movies permanently. And you said something earlier on about this, the persona and what's real. And, you know, we're all playing the game. We are all playing the game and we're all watching the movies of who we are. So in those emergency situations, just look at a positive movie of success. So I work with a lot of golfers and athletes. So the problem is, let's say you're a golfer and you go and hit the ball to hit the hole and you just completely miss. Mm-hmm. You'll never get over that all the time you keep thinking about it. So I have to erase that scene, give them a coping mechanism, right, and have them remember one of their best putts or one of their best swings they ever did in their life, open their eyes and go ahead and do it again.
Yeah.
You know,
so it's just finding the positive one and really focusing on that.
Yeah. So literally in day-to-day life, you know, we know that we get curveballs because that's life. We know that things happen because that's life, but you might as well enjoy the good with the bad. Mm-hmm. And if something's not going right, then you know that you're going to get a couple of those to get something that is going well. Right. You know, it's 2 no's for every yes. I think
it's that every failure is really just a learning experience. It isn't actually a failure. It's one step closer to success.
Yeah.
And then just finding what works for you and implementing that more.
Yeah, and you see in my own mind, let's say, you know, somebody's in a stressful situation, you can create in your own mind, you know, that you're actually at Disney World, if that's what you want to do, and everything around you is hilarious, and you're in this rough situation, and but you're being self-entertained in your own mind, yeah. And if you can get to that level of mastery, then it's brilliant, because it doesn't matter, you know, the flight delay you've encountered, or whatever it might be, you can self-reflect and roll that tape in your head. And because here's the deal, I mean, and this is the thing with my mother once. I mean, her brother, you know, my uncle passed away, and in the end, I had to say to my own mother, "How long do you want to be in bereavement? Mm-hmm. You can be in bereavement 6 months, 2 years, or when I snap my fingers, after 5 minutes, the bereavement can stop because you can actually just give yourself permission to feel whatever you want to feel, or do you want to continue feeling miserable?" Well, no, I just want to get over it, but it's very traumatic. I know, but when I snap my fingers, the permission for you to be in bereavement has now ended. Mm-hmm. Gone. Now you can get on with your life. And it's just that permission base that people need in those emergency situations.
It's you were talking about Disneyland. I do something similar, but less amusing probably. Yeah. But it's just, you know, in my job, I have to do social networking a lot. And that's something that is really stressful to a lot of people. And I won't say I'm not a naturally social person, because I am, but I don't really enjoy socializing. I don't like people for the most part. But it's a big part of my life. You know, I have to make connections and make those friendships with people. And so I just remind myself, you know, I could be in a really high-end place where I'm meeting people who make millions of dollars, and I need to network with them so that, you know, our businesses can work together. And I'm just like, I bet they have kids. I have kids. We can talk about being parents. And that's one of my go-tos. It's like, people are people, and it doesn't matter your status. It doesn't matter how beautiful you are or what part of the world you live in. We all have the same journey. I mean, they're different, but we all have a journey, and just finding something to connect with people on can really help calm down a situation. And I drink a glass of champagne. In the mornings it's coffee, in the evenings it's champagne. And I turn on that face and I can network with anyone because I don't feel they are out of my league or above my stature, even if they are in business. I want to learn from them. I want to work with them and make it a happy relationship,
And that's right. You're absolutely right. And depending on what the scenario is and what the environment is, it's interesting that we already know that congregations hang around congregations. Successful people hang around with successful people.
Right.
Rich people hang around with rich people. And unfortunately, smokers hang around with smokers and poor people with poor people.
Right.
It's just the way it is. So once you've decided which club you want to be in, then you can just put that persona on. Like if I wanted to be a lawyer right now, I would just change my clothes and be lawyer-like.
And the way you speak,
Yeah, it's true. But if you know what that is already and you've got that written down to a certain extent that you know that if you're going to go to a chamber of commerce or a country club or you need to network and it's something you're uncomfortable with, some of what plays on in my tape of my head, which gets me over this sort of stuff, is I just pick a characteristic of their face and I turn it into a funny thing, like they might have a rubber nose or a rubber ear, and it sounds funny, but it diffuses the stress from the environment. Because I'm like, man, if I could pull that nose, it'd go, and just, you're right, people are people, and if you diffuse that, no longer is that CEO, this intimidating-looking CEO, it's a CEO with a rubber nose.
Right.
And you
he
just
may be successful, but he still has a rubber nose.
Yeah, still has a rubber nose. So when you go and speak to him, you're like, hey, buddy, you got a rubber nose. No, you don't say that. But it just helps you bridge that gap so that you can approach somebody and use your power of language. I mean, in certain situations, I know a lot of people have to make the first introduction. And one of the ways in that introduction is, has anybody ever taken their time out of their day to explain to you how to hire me? Or has anybody ever taken the time out of their day to explain to you the benefits of this social media program? Because 9 times out of 10, they're going to say no. Nobody's ever took the time out of their day to explain the benefits or the service or you. Well, here are the benefits. You've almost got yourself in because they're not going to shut you down at that point. They can only answer no.
Well, then you're doing them a favor by being so courteous to take the time out of your day.
Right. So what you're into now is the power of reciprocation.
Right.
So if you break that down, has anybody ever taken the time out of their day to explain to you how to buy a BMW? No. Are you willing to understand the best way to buy a BMW? Well, yes. Okay, well, just close your eyes, visualize your dream BMW, if that's what the car of choice is to you. And once you've found that one thing that you want above all else, open your eyes and tell me what it is right now. You see, for some people, they'll say, oh, it's a white leather seat.
Right.
It's just the white leather trim. Well, if that's important for you, let me explain to you how to get a car like that with a white leather seat that's a BMW. Now, if you have that phraseology, those like buzzer words, you're not going to come across lacking confidence.
Right.
You're going to come across like you know what you're saying.
Absolutely. And again, as you said earlier, you should focus on those aspects of your life that you know you're already good at. You already have a little bit of confidence in that area and just improve on that and increase that.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And if you're lacking experience, and depending on the situation, then a phrase to use is, most of the people that I know all think or say the same as this. So the phrase that would relate to me is, most of my clients that come to see me for weight loss always experience a weight loss of between 40 and 60 pounds. That's what they enjoy. How would you like to try that?
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't want to try that. Okay, you're not a client of mine then. Right. Just by using that language, you're navigating somebody into a level of they feel confident of who you are. And I tell you, people are afraid to edify themselves. They don't know what their elevator pitch is. And I think that you should not be afraid to promote yourself or blow your own trumpet.
Right.
And give somebody a 30-second burst of who on earth you are and why they need to get to know who you are.
Well, this is something we teach in dating as well, because it not only gives you the confidence to be okay with who you are, but it also filters out potential partners that aren't interested in who you are. And you shouldn't have to be someone else to get someone that you're really compatible with and really happy with. You know, it allows you to be yourself and also creates a filter for those people coming into your life.
Yeah.
So,
And you know, some really important words is, has anybody ever, or, you know, the number one search engine is Google. I think number two is YouTube.
Yeah.
And the most common phrase search term is how to.
Yeah.
Right? The how-to videos, for example.
Right.
So I use that in my everyday language because I understand that people need my assistance, or if I want to break down a barrier, it can be anything. Has anybody ever explained to you how to actually vote? I mean, do you understand what to do and where to go? Well, let me explain it to you real quick because I want you to understand the process.
Right.
Well, as soon as I've done that, you're nodding your head and now you owe me something. Reciprocal agreements. You
Right.
owe me something. And then, of course, as you know in social media, what you're building is the like, know, and trust factor. In anything you say and do, both words and phrases, you're using the like, know, and trust factor. Because that's how you get what you want out of somebody else, you know. They've got to like you, they've got to know you, and they've got to trust you.
Right. Oh, this is so good. Thank you. I can't even, I have to stop, but I don't want to because I feel like you and I could talk about this all day. Yeah. But I cannot thank you enough for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
I would love for my clients to be able to contact you and work with you personally. So what is the best way for them to reach out and find you so that they can do that?
I would say just go to incrediblehypnotist.com. That's my website that has all kinds of information about myself and video. So it's just incrediblehypnotist.com.
Perfect. And thank you again for being here, Richard. It's been a lot of fun.
You're welcome. Oh, and just by the way, if you want to learn how to master the art of persuasion and suggestion in a selling context, I have a brand new book that's just come out called Selling Hypnotically.
Perfect.
The Art of Suggestion.
Okay. Is this for sales or is it for just selling yourself?
This is for selling yourself or for selling something. So I call it products or services. And don't take this the wrong way, but you're both. You're a product and you're a service.
Right. That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
So guys, definitely check out the book and go to incrediblehypnotist.com to connect with Richard personally. I can't recommend it enough. Thank you again for being here.
You're welcome.
And I will see you guys again very soon.